Right. Pam Bondi says there's a list and then turns around and says there isn't a list. Trump straight up says, why are we still talking about this guy in some random press conference? The DOJ says there's nothing more to investigate. Yeah, let me get something straight here. A billionaire with sketchy circumstances literally has a guard falling asleep. His freaking video comes out, it's behind, saying that, oh, he killed himself. There's 2 minutes missing. The government says there's nothing to see here. Nah, I'm sorry. Nobody believes that. Sorry to tell you, nobody's believing that. So let's get right into it. Who's Jeffrey Epstein? What happened exactly? And why is it that the government is covering it up so bad, man? All right, so welcome back. We're doing another reaction to Jeffrey Epstein. I'm excited for this one. I don't know what the heck is going on with this guy. I was not around the times that this guy was alive and blah, 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 and the news was going crazy. I don't know any about that, but I want to get into it. So today we're watching a video by Voidzilla, aka CoffeeZilla, amazing content creator, and he has a great video describing what's going on. So go subscribe to CoffeeZilla and Voidzilla. Both links will be in the description, and let's get into it.
This is the worst cover-up of my lifetime, the Epstein case. The reason I'm talking about it so much is because if
Mile Live Void, I think you have a booger there, bro. That shit just, I'm sorry, it's in my face, bro.
you can get away with this, you really can get away with anything. If the government can tell people to not believe what they just said a few months ago and have everyone be fine with that, that's just a level of gaslighting that I refuse to be a part of. Never forget.
Nobody's going to let this go. I want you to know right now, not a single person is going to let this go. And they shouldn't let it go. This should haunt the government like crazy, truthfully. There's no way that we let the government get away with this. No way. No way. Hold them accountable. There's no way.
They just promised us names in the release of the Epstein files.
Breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released.
What kind?
A lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information.
But in this,
Bro, she just says it. She just says it, bro. Yeah, you're just going to find flight logs and a list and blah, blah, blah. She just says it straight up. No F-ups. She just says it.
case in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking that there were so many individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable.
Yeah, well, apparently there are no names to be given. No list, no blackmail. Epstein has now been pushed as a lone trafficker. It's the lone trafficker theory, guys. Essentially, the government's memo that they just released contradicts everything we've seen before.
No incriminating client list, no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals. Evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. Breaking news from the DOJ themselves and the FBI.
And now basically implies that Epstein was trafficking to himself and Ghislaine Maxwell was trafficking to Epstein, and there was no other blackmail or trafficking going on. That's what this memo essentially implies. His wealth and his power then would be just from his skill as a New York financier.
I'm talking about Jeff Epstein, the New York financier.
Basically, he was the world's greatest tax advisor by day and the world's greatest trafficker at night to himself. And the rich and powerful people who all flocked to him and to his island had no idea of this double life. That really is kind of the heart of the modern theory, is that just all Epstein by himself, and then his friends just were there for his tax advice, despite not...
You know, when you have a friend, right, like, you probably know what's going on, depending how good of a friend you are. I mean, guys are pretty vocal with their buddies sometimes, you know, so I would say that if your friend is doing something sketchy and you want to say you don't know about it or somehow you didn't know about it, that's insane to me. You must have caught wind of it somehow, depending how much you hung out. There's no way. There's no way. And the fact is that they're trying to cover it up because of the people who were involved, obviously.
Being a tax professional or a lawyer. Not only that, another huge revelation is the fact that really the government has increased the number of victims and decreased the number of perpetrators, right? We had the idea that there were these other perpetrators for a while, that they were just redacted because the government was building cases. Now we got pretty clear statements that there isn't evidence to bring future cases on third parties. But if you look at the original 2019 indictment, it says dozens of victims. This is from Ken Klippenstein. But the Epstein review says over 1,000 victims. So what happened, guys? And by the way, in the interim, they also increased the number to...
Wait, what? Run it back. What is that?
Victims. So what happened? 2019 indictment, it says dozens of victims. This is from Ken Klippenstein. But the Epstein review says over 1,000 victims.
Nah, bro. No, bro, they're trying too hard, bro. Honestly, they're not even trying. They're just doing it and saying, yeah, well, believe us. And if you don't believe us, sucks, because we have the info and you don't. Nah, bro, that's crazy. That's insane.
So what happened, guys? And by the way, in the interim,
Literally, what?
they also increased the number to 200 to 250.
200 victims. 200. So we have well over 250, actually.
So we went from dozens to 200 to over 1,000 in the span of basically a year in terms of victims. We like 10x the number of victims. But now there's no perpetrators. Like the perpetrators have been reduced. That is the crazy thing about what they're implying here, what this lone trafficker theory is pushing forward. It's also strange because previously Epstein, in a court filing, is said to have provided information to the FBI as agreed upon. Case agent advised that no federal prosecution will occur in this matter as long as Epstein continues to uphold his agreement with the state of Florida. So apparently there was some deal where Epstein was providing information to the FBI. What information?
What? Dude, the guy was providing info to the FBI, bro? Nah, bro, come on, man. Of course, bro. You know, he got the little... You know, he got the guys coming in from another country. You know, here's a drink, bro. Here's a girl or two. You know what I mean? He starts talking shit. You know, he starts saying that, rah, rah. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, FBI, you go, bro. Now let me do my thing. You know what I mean? Let me do my thing. That's crazy, bro. That's insane that he could really just get away with doing something like that.
We don't know because no one...
And our government let it happen, bro. Holy shit. Wow.
else was involved. There's also the simple fact that if you go to the FBI records, what they call the vault, most of the files are just heavily redacted. So the idea that we got some transparency wave is literally a joke. Yes, it is true. There's no Epstein list where there's like names written down, but names exist in documents, on videos, in images, and they're all redacted. What's going on here? They're going to say, oh, it's all for the victims, right? But it's not all victim names. In addition to that, this lone trafficker theory is already on shaky grounds when you think about Prince Andrew's settlement with Virginia Giuffre, where he paid $16 million to make civil sexual assault allegations go away. Now, of course, it's worth saying that he did not admit to guilt. This was a settlement, but that is what you're always going to have with these rich and powerful people. In the same way, you also have Leon Black, who reportedly paid $158 million over 5 years to Jeffrey Epstein for tax advice. And guess what?
Over 5 years, bro? What? 150 mil over 5 years, bro? That's a crazy ass type of like freaking payment plan or some shit, bro. What the hell?
What? Leon Black, billionaire, also paid the U.S. Virgin Islands $62 million in cash as part of a settlement, a non-prosecution, where they wouldn't go after him for anything from, quote, any and all claims of any nature whatsoever, specifically related to Jeffrey Epstein. It's
What? This is in documents, bro? What the hell?
worth noting that $15 million of this cash payment will be going to counseling programs and activities or mental health services. You also have Jess Staley, the former boss of Barclays. He directly admitted to having sex with a member of
Having had sex with a member of Epstein's staff, bro.
Of Epstein's staff, which you would expect if someone was running a trafficking operation. Although, I just have to say that there was a statement that this was entirely consensual, and I'm not saying anything about that. I'm simply saying the idea that Epstein was just trafficking for himself is unlikely to be true, in my opinion. Later, Staley wrote to Epstein, "Say hi to Snow White." Epstein replied, "What character would you like next?" Staley responded, "Beauty and the Beast." And then Jeffrey Epstein said, well, one side is available. Obviously, some type of coded message.
Coded, bro? That's disgusting. Bro, you're using this like Disney talk with... Nah, what the hell?
You can read into that for yourself, but all of this is public. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what makes...
That's what I'm saying, dude. The fact that this is all documented, bro, the fact that you can go and look and find this, bro, that's insane. That's crazy that you can just go and find this and you're supposed to be like, it's fine. And then the government's coming out saying literally going against what was already reported on years ago, documented years ago. And the government says, nah, there's nothing going on here, bro. There's nothing crazy. What?
The government's memo, so infuriating, is so much reporting has already been done. These settlements with powerful figures, under denials, yes, but also under very questionable circumstances, make just a complete denial and statement that all of this was just Epstein impossible to believe. In September 2009, Epstein also emailed a woman named Irina to tell her that Jess Staley is staying in the Berkeley Hotel in London tonight. Staley emailed Epstein the next day to say, I should have taken your offer, according to the Times. There's also this book by one of the 60 Minutes correspondents called A Ticking Clock, where he says that he met with Ghislaine Maxwell, and he said, I want the tapes, I said to Maxwell at a table at Regency Bar. I know he was videotaping everyone. I want the tape of Trump with the girls. She didn't deny the existence of the tapes, but said, I don't know where they are. He apparently replied, ask Epstein, and she gave him a stern look and pointed a finger at my face. I'm the daughter of a press baron. I know the way you people think. If you do one side, you must do the other. If you get tapes on Trump, you have to do Clinton. Now, again, what you make...
And our current president is Donald Trump, by the way, everybody. And I'm going to let this be known, and I think if you've watched my channel, you know this. I support Trump, and I support him as our president. I even voted for him. But this is a Trump L. Huge Trump L. He is the one who's controlling this. He could have easily released the real files. He could have showed everybody what's really going on, and he is denying it. Not to mention that Trump was really good friends with Jeffrey Epstein, and I mean really good friends. So if he ended up doing stuff on the island, it is what it is. I mean, if you want to lie about it and redact your name, go on ahead, honestly, whatever. But even though we're going to know, honestly, but to have every other person who is as powerful as a president or in that nature, in that realm of power, right, billionaires, etc., to then just say it doesn't exist because you're trying to protect them and you yourself are basically a billionaire, and then you want to come at people and try to convince your own people that they're stupid for believing in this and that they should drop it, and all these documents are here, bro. This is insane. No, this is impossible to even get at. What?
Of a third-hand source like this talking to Ghislaine Maxwell, who apparently doesn't deny that some of these tapes exist. Was she even telling the truth or just playing some game? Either way, this was all known about, not just by people after the fact, but allegedly by people during the fact. This is from Mark Epstein. It's sourced from Jeffrey Epstein. Quote, if I said what I know about both candidates, they'd have to cancel the election. That's what Jeffrey told me in 2016. So not even Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell allegedly were claiming this was all just between them. They were constantly insinuating that there were compromising things on various powerful people. What's funny is that Trump himself, even before he was in a position to declassify this stuff, had accused other powerful people of doing these things.
Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island.
He just says it. He just says it, bro. It's recorded. He just says it.
With Jeffrey Epstein.
That island
He just says it. He just says it, bro. He just says it.
was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew.
You also have
What?
the fact that Jeffrey Epstein was in touch with other convicted pedophiles. Larry Nassar, he was writing letters. So the idea, once again, that he was just by himself, off by himself, doing things on his island by himself, and then taking calls with people like Bill Gates simply for philanthropic advice, really pushes the bounds of belief. Don't forget, a close associate of Bill Gates was named a fallback executor on the will of Jeffrey Epstein, which he, by the way, said he was shocked by and he deeply regrets meeting Epstein. Bill Gates has said similar things to that effect. Of course, Bill Gates fraternized with Epstein after he was convicted of crimes. Previously, he told the Wall Street Journal, I didn't have any business relationship or friendship with him, but in fact, he met multiple times with him at his Manhattan townhouse. Now, once again, I have to say real quick, all of these people are innocent until proven guilty. All of them deny doing anything untoward. But my point is, there are already too many associations to make the lone trafficker theory make any sense. For example, Jean-Luc Brunel was somebody who
I woke up and he was on top of me. 6 women on being abused by fashion agent Jean-Luc Brunel,
who apparently trafficked a bunch of people to Epstein, who himself abused a bunch of women and even was charged for it. He was charged for some
with drugging a 17-year-old girl in the 1990s/2000s. Brunel said he was innocent. Oh my gosh. This is insane.
really awful things and then later found dead in his cell. Interestingly,
You know who else was found dead in his cell?
Epstein was actually a financier of Brunel's modeling agency where a lot of this alleged abuse happened. So once again, the idea of the lone trafficker just doesn't make sense because Epstein's directly linked to another guy who was also abusing women. So after all of this, they're really asking you to believe the unbelievable. They're asking you to not believe what they've said about this case, both out of office and now in power. They're asking you to not believe public reporting linking Epstein to other known files. They're asking you not to believe suspicious circumstances regarding settlements of powerful people. They're asking you to believe that Epstein was just the greatest tax advisor and financial advisor on the planet that all of these billionaires needed to consult, despite the fact that there are entire organizations built around providing the same services as this without the...
I'm not going to lie. Yeah, that's a great point. To say that there's one guy in the world, there's one financial guru, this master, to say there's one guy in the world who could do so good, just him, by himself, no team, and can get you the best financial advantages in the world when there's full-blown organizations with thousands of people working. Nah, I'm not gonna lie. That's a hard one to believe, that one guy was that good to beat a bunch of people who probably went to Harvard and whatever.
you know, links to crimes. They're asking you to believe that when people are talking about Snow White and Beauty and the Beast, they're referencing Disneyland. And they're especially asking you to believe that they have found 900 new victims since reviewing these files and exactly 0 new perpetrators. So I'm just not buying it personally. I find it insulting to the intelligence of every single person who's ever looked at this story. And yeah, it really makes me feel like this was a appropriate time to launch a crime is legal merch collection, to be honest. So yeah, this is probably my last video on this for a while, but just disgusting.
Names?
No, like I said, everybody, this is insane. This is crazy. How do you expect us to sit here and just like swallow this garbage? How do you expect us to just sit here and literally give us a bowl of shit and make us eat it, and then tell us that this is real, like this is fine? I love this shit. I'm sorry, we're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do it because not only that, Trump came in saying he's going to release the files, he's gonna do this, he's gonna do that. Promises made, promises kept, and then he doesn't want to release the files of Jeffrey Epstein. The actual files. And then on top of that, gaslights us to basically say to us that, yeah, guys, there's nothing going on. There was nothing going on this whole time. He's by himself. Nah, man, that's a load of bullshit. Promises made, promises kept, right? So why don't you release the files? I don't want it redacted. I want it unredacted. Release the files and let everybody determine that for themselves. But you won't do that. Because you're lying, the government is lying, the DOJ is a mess. Pam Bondi should be fired, truthfully, for saying what she said. Or I don't know what happened. Maybe it's not even her fault. Maybe it was that she really did have the intentions of releasing the files and the names, and thus the reason why she said that there's a list, literally verbatim out of her mouth, that there is a list and there's a flight log and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, the president said, don't release it. Not a good time. Maybe not. And then when we ask you about it at your own press conferences, you say to us, are we really still talking about this guy? Nah. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a short one, but I wanted to get caught up to date with this Jeffrey Epstein thing going on, and I wanted to release something small on it, nothing crazy, but I wanted to see from somebody else's point of view what they were seeing, because I couldn't even believe it when I was reading about it. Again, this video belonged to Voidzilla, aka CoffeeZilla. So go ahead and go down to the description below and click on the links there. Go support the video, like the video, give him a sub. Both of his channels will be there. CoffeeZilla is a great creator. All right, everybody. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to drop a thumbs up in the down below. Drop a comment. Let me know what you guys thought. Yo, let's get some debates going on, man. I want to see what everybody's thinking. I want to see if everybody's thinking like me, like CoffeeZilla, because this was insane. So go ahead and leave a comment, like, comment, share, subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and go subscribe to CoffeeZilla/Voidzilla, because he's a great content creator and he's the one who made this video. But other than that, guys, I'll see you. Peace.